Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning. You mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not?
Please go away. Let me speak for the love of God.
Coming to you all the way from Paris, Ben Helwig, back from sabbatical. Hey, mate, how are ya?
That is exactly how they say it when I ask, because everyone asks me, where are you from? And I say Australia. Where are you from? Just as a, and they all say, howdy.
Mate, I missed you last week. How's things over there?
Yeah, it's good. Good. Yeah, it was pretty busy last week, and I didn't. This is a little tip for travellers: when you book your Airbnb, don't just assume that everywhere has Wi-Fi, because they don't.
That'd be a
which
bastard.
we were shocked by, especially here in France, when the internet is relatively cheap and supposedly like super fast. But not every Airbnb has the Wi-Fi.
Dang.
So that was the main reason why I couldn't do the show last week.
Well, you were missed, mate. You were missed.
It had no impact.
I'm going to pick your brain about your travels in a moment, but first let me welcome everybody to the show. This is Good Movie Monday, the weekly podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. It's so good to have you with us. Thank you for lending us your ears. My name is Glenn Cochran, coming to you all the way from my office. And yes, once again, the other guy is Ben Helwig, and he's living it up in Paris right now. We are found wherever you get podcasts from. You can visit our website, goodmoviemonday.com, for links to all of our social media platforms as well. And you know what? Be a pal. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that stuff. Spread the love. We would appreciate it. Now, before anything else, Ben, I want to take a quick moment to give a massive shout out and thank you to Chloe Ritchie, who took your place on the show last week and did a fucking fantastic job. Really, really appreciate that. I mean, there's no real actual substitute for you, mate, but we are pretty lucky to have people like Chloe and Melzy to step up and carry the load when you're not around.
Did Chloe come into the studio?
No, unfortunately. She is about 3 hours away, so, would have been
That's
quite
no
an effort.
excuse.
That's what I reckon, to be honest with you.
If she's gonna fill my ass print in that seat, she needs to fill my ass print in that seat.
Someone that will be feeling your ass print in that seat will be Jarrett in a couple of weeks' time, because he's going to be here at the desk filling in for you. So
You'll be able to get into one cheek.
That's right. I need two co-hosts to fill that seat.
One for each cheek.
And speaking of Jarrett, he's also going to be dropping in a moment to impart his wisdom on home entertainment and things like that. Of course, we do have the Bonehead Weekly podcast coming up a little bit later too with their fun-sized segment. Now, our special guest this week is one that I'm pretty excited about. It's a guy who I adore, and Ben will have heard me banging on about this guy for quite a while now. Some would say he's a dude trapped in the 80s. I would say he's a man of the now who celebrates and preserves the good shit from the 80s. His name is Weird Paul, and there's a good chance you may know his face if you don't know his name. He does have a very iconic hairdo, and I'll tell you more about him soon, but stick around for that because it is a very fun chat. But Ben, one thing first. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, well, I'm playing some French Riviera sounds right now.
Oh, okay.
You're just staring at the screen.
I can't hear anything. You tell me what I'm supposed to be hearing, and I'll react as if I'm hearing it.
Whoa! You've been in Cannes at the film festival for the past week. What the hell was that like?
It was pretty good. We got to see. We did see some celebs, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah, right.
Because they block off. You pay quite a lot of money to go to the film market at Cannes.
Yeah.
And every time there's a red carpet with anyone big, they block off. Like they actually have the police with machine guns block off the road, so you can't get in to the market, which is always entertaining. But we did manage to run into Jim Jarmusch. I think Kim posted a picture of him, and Grant spotted both Fisher Stevens, which I was excited about,
Yeah.
and what's his name? I keep wanting to call him Michael Sheen, but it's not. It's the guy from Shame. What's his name?
From Michael Fassbender? No.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
It's Fassbender.
Yeah.
Grant saw Fassbender, and you could tell it was Fassbender by the fact that his cock was dragging along the ground behind.
Waiting for that. Did you manage to catch wind of any of that Indiana Jones buzz?
No, unfortunately, there was a bit of controversy at the Cannes Film Festival this year because just about everybody I talked to was complaining about the inability to get tickets to anything. And it seemed, trying myself, it was all done. It's done over a portal, an internet portal, and the tickets go up 4 days prior to the screenings, and you get in at 7 a.m. So you log in at 7, you get on, it freezes.
Yep.
It kicks you out. You log back in at 7:02, all the tickets are gone.
Fuck.
And there were rumors that they'd all gone to sponsors and friends, and there are actually physical terminals that you could go and use, and there are a couple of people whose job, it seems, to camp out at those terminals with like hundreds of people's badges and log in and try and get tickets. Whether that's successful or not, I don't know. But I know. Look, I don't know if Kim managed to get into. I went with my boss Grant and Kim, who's also one of the Monster Fest team. And I think Kim managed to got onto something on the red carpet. I'm not sure. She came prepared. I not while I was there, but maybe after she got on. But she tried. She tried to get into new Wes Anderson. Tried to get into Indiana Jones. Even they have the red carpet premiere, and then they also have these other screenings where you don't have to dress up in the tux and stuff. And the Indiana Jones had one at like 8:30 in the morning the next day, sold out.
Yeah.
I had one to cinemas miles away from the actual center of Cannes, because they take over cinemas all over the place. Like we were staying like a suburb out in this place called La Boca, which I was which is it's like literally one train stop, so it takes like 5 minutes to get in.
Sure.
Even that cinema, all of the screenings were sold out. So unfortunately, the best I got to do was stand in front of the poster, which was pretty cool outside of the Carlton, the big hotel. So it's a very interesting place, but you do, like, everything is expensive, but they had some great fast food places which I'd never seen before. One of which I can't recommend enough, which was the Steak and Shake, which was great.
Sold.
And the best thing about the Steak and Shake was that the burger came in like this kind of square or a kind of triangle bit of paper that you hold the burger in. So because they're quite large burgers, when the fillings squeeze out the back, it's all contained in your hand, and then you can still continue to shove it down your gob, which I appreciate.
Yeah, fucking A. You need to snip off the bottom of that triangle and just let it funnel in.
And let it like a trash compactor.
Yeah, that's it. Most importantly, though, like, we need your international toilet report, mate. So, as promised, what's the dunny sitch?
Well, look, let me tell you this. When you watch videos on YouTube and they tell you that you don't really need cash because since COVID, everything's gone cashless, and for the most part, you can tap and go with your credit card or with Apple Pay, do not listen to them, because every single toilet outside of your accommodation is going to cost you anywhere from 30 cents to €1 to use.
Bloody hell.
And they are not as frequently to be found as you would like. Especially if the diabetes kicks in when you're on your trip. And the need to use those toilets goes from 0 to 100 in quite a short space of time. So, like, I was like, luckily the ones at the train stations, usually in at least in Paris, you can tap. You can actually, they've taken care of it. And look, it is, I guess it is fair enough because pound for pound, I have never been in cleaner public toilets because that's who you're paying. You're paying the cleaner to clean up after you, and you know they earn that euro. I tell you.
Mate, it sounds terrifying. It sounds terrifying.
Look, big shout out to the people who work at that Brussels thing because they saw my predicament and they were like, "Oh, look, here's a key. Here's a toilet key. Just use it." I was like, "This is about to become everyone's problem."
When you said, "Like, are you sure?" Did they say, "Wah?"
Yeah. No, these are from Belgium, so they said it in Flemish.
Oh.
I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think it's a mix. I think is Flemish just. We're gonna get letters for this. Is Flemish just like the bastard language of German and French, like meshed together? I honestly don't.
I don't know, but I had a cold yesterday and I woke up pretty Flemish.
Zing! If we don't get letters for my thing, we're getting letters for yours.
All right. Well, change of plans, folks. Whoops. You know what? I reckon that everybody I know right now is burning the candle at both ends, myself included, except for Ben. You know, that bastard is over there gallivanting around the world, and I can say that right now because I'm recording this at a different time and he's not going to hear it. But you know what? Even before he left, he was running himself into the ground too. So with that said, Jarrett has taken off for a short holiday with his wife somewhere in the South Pacific, I think. Probably singing Rodgers and Hammerstein songs or Some Enchanted Evening or pappy shit like that. But you know what? A well-earned break. I think we all need it right now, so good on him. But that does mean that I am going to fill in the gaps, all of the nooks and crannies. I'm not a fan of my voice being all over the show like that, but hey, it is what it is. The only distributor releasing this week is Roadshow, and they're kicking things off with Creed 3, which is making its way to 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray and DVD. And yep, you guessed it, the 4K does have Dolby Atmos. I can't deliver that news with the same level of jizz in my pants enthusiasm as Jarrett, but there you go. There's also a 3-pack of Creed 1, 2, and 3 coming out on Blu-ray and DVD. I have no fucking clue what the special features are on those because that's, let's face it, that's a Jarrett thing to know, and I don't. But the other 2 releases are only on DVD, so there's probably a chance that Jarrett would not have mentioned these anyway. I'm gonna. They are the Australian dramatic comedy Of an Age, which is set in Melbourne during the 1990s. That's had some great reviews. That's coming out on DVD. And Come Out Fighting. It's a World War II action drama starring Michael Jai White, Tyrese Gibson, and Dolph Lundgren. Haven't heard much about that one, but you know what? It looks all right. All of those, as I said, coming from Roadshow. Not much else. The only other thing, Jarrett normally right now brings some news, but I'm going to skip that because I ain't got none. That is to say, the only thing I do know is that Avatar: The Way of Water has got its home entertainment release date, which I believe is June 28th, and that's going to be available on all the formats. And joining it is the original Avatar, which is getting its first 4K release, I believe, on the same day. So there you go. That's the news. That's the Jarrett segment. Jarrett, you're welcome, mate. Keep enjoying those coconuts. And now, this is the part I hate. Back to me. All right, well, this is the part of the show we might as well call Can't Be Fucked coming up with ideas, so let's steal some from Up Late. That's the gist of it.
Well, I like to think of it. I like to think that somebody could be fucked to think of them for Up Late.
Yeah. Chloe really wants to get you on Up Late to play these games too, by the way.
Oh, look, if it wasn't so late, I'd definitely be down. But
True.
I like to go to bed at 8:30.
Well, and of course, people, Up Late is the other podcast I host on a Wednesday night with Chloe, and the entire premise is that we play these lame-ass games, and they're mostly movie trivia, opinion-based things. And this week we're going to give one a crack. Would you rather? It's it's a popular one with Chloe and I. We enjoyed this one, and we're going to give it a red hot crack here now. Ben, are you ready?
All right, you go first.
All right,
as Salah says to Indy. You go first. Very dangerous.
Go Indiana Jones.
Would you rather? Very dangerous. You go first.
Okay, would you rather the ultimate deluxe 4K release collection of 80s sex comedies, 25 titles in the pack, or an ultimate deluxe 4K release of the complete Fulci collection.
I'll take the sex comedies, thank you.
Yeah, I thought you might. I thought, what can I do up there that might cause him to think about it? I thought Fulci maybe, but
Well,
no.
the Fulci ones have already been done. So I can get those. Sex comedies, it takes a bit more convincing someone to do. Although one of the companies I ran into and had a meeting with at Cannes, they've done I think it's a 2-hour plus doco on erotic, like made for TV erotic movies.
Yep.
And like 90s erotic thrillers and stuff. So basically the blockbuster porn section. And they haven't sent me a screener yet, but I am fucking looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably got them all at home anyway.
Well, like I've had to download them because for a while they were available. Now they command astonishing prices on eBay because they are hard to get.
Okay.
Very hard to find.
All right. Hit me up with your first one.
All right. So, would you rather Ernest in a Snake Plissken movie or Snake Plissken in an Ernest movie?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'd like to think that a Snake Plissken in an Ernest movie gives the Ernest movie a bit of a leg up, bit of credibility with the mainstream.
You think?
But the other
Snake
way
Plissken
around.
is the guy to do that?
Oh, well, I mean, brings a whole new audience to Ernest, doesn't it? But I think I'd rather Ernest being welcomed into the Snake Plissken verse with open arms.
Like, is the third cab driver?
No, he's got to be more than that. Maybe he could be like the Bruce Campbell character in part 2.
Or who's the guy from he's the albino kind of character in Assault on Precinct 13, but he's also in like kind of one of the original gang members that capture Snake Plissken in
although
New
actually,
York.
come to think of it, if I'm allowed to sort of broaden that into part 2, Escape from LA, I would like Ernest to be the Peter Fonda character on the surfboard.
Yeah, or what if he's the major villain, like the guy who controls New York? That's Ernest. Somebody needs to AI that into the. He just replaces Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, and his catchphrase is "Ew."
That would be amazing.
All right, here's your next one. Would you rather be Long Duck Dong on the exercise bike with Demi Pollack in 16 Candles, or Donovan Scott having his face pinned down between the thighs of Callahan in Police Academy?
Oh, definitely in Police Academy.
Oh, you got those big boobies that Long Duck Dong gets his face planted into all the time.
He does. He does okay, but I think the guy in Police Academy, because isn't he the guy who has all the girls come to his room and stuff? And
No. Donovan Scott's the portly guy, the fat chubby guy.
That guy, yeah. No, that's about right. That's more fitting.
I read.
There's actually
go on.
There's actually, speaking of docos, there is a Police Academy franchise doco on the way from the same guys that did the
Robert Englund and Pennywise.
Robert Englund doco and a Pennywise doco. Yeah,
they spoke to us about that on the interview.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I always think these things when people talk about their future projects, that it's always contingent on financing, which I assume that no one ever gets.
And I always assume that people listening heard that.
Yeah.
But I did read last week that Jordan Peele and what's the other guy from Key and Peele? I can't remember his name. You know the guy I mean. Well, apparently they've been trying to write and get off the ground a Police Academy reboot.
I mean, that would be fucking great.
Yes, because those guys have
I'd be all for it.
They have the comedy chops.
I just the struggle is making it politically correct and still funny.
That is true. I feel like those guys know how to sort of toe that line and step over it.
They could circumvent. They could navigate that minefield.
Hit me up with the next one.
All right. Would you rather Serious Ash or Stooges-esque Michael Myers?
Hang on. Stooges-esque Michael Myers. That's hilarious.
Could you imagine like Army of Darkness 3-esque Halloween Kills.
Yeah, like in whoop, 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 whoop.
Your pretty little two shoes, Michael Myers. Pretty little two shoes.
Fucking hell.
Good, bad. I'm the one with the boiler suit. It'd be great.
I feel like we've seen several shades of Ash, like because he has had some serious moments.
Has had serious Ash,
but
yeah.
Michael Myers, I think that'd be something to behold. Although there've been parody movies with him in it, so I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's kind of like the scary movie.
I want a movie where in his downtime, Michael Myers sort of is trying his chops and his licks at stand up comedy. Like that's what he does when he's not killing. It's like Miss Maisel.
I just figured he's always trying to get through his janitor's job, his janitorial job in the insane asylum until they, for reasons unknown, decide to move him to another hospital only on Halloween. Every Halloween they move him.
I would like to see a crossover between like Halloween with Michael Myers and Caddyshack, and he just rampages on a golf course. That'd be cool.
But he does help. He does help Al Cervic win the. He's becomes Al's caddy during the.
So what? So let's dance.
Yeah. We're all gonna get laid except you.
That would be fantastic. All right, here's your final one, mate. Would you rather eat the Cubano sandwich from the movie Chef, or eat the Tepano dish served in the movie Big Night?
Oh, you hit me where it hurts. I think. I got to look. As much as I love Big Night, I had dreams about that bloody Cubano sandwich after watching Chef. Like dreams.
Oh, and when they scrape it with the spatula and it's like crunchy and shit. Oh, yeah, it's a pretty good choice. I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'd like the Cubano sandwich, but cooked by what's his name from Stanley
Big Night?
Tucci. Oh no, the other guy, the guy from Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
Yep. I've forgotten his name. But yes, although, I've had an excellent Cubano sandwich and there is nothing like it. So.
Yeah. I might have to look around. You know what I found? I found here in Paris. When I got home from Brussels, it took me to, I had to get the train out through Charles de Gaulle Airport. Mm-hmm. There's a train station under the airport. But on the way back, it took me to Gare du Nord, which is a big central train station, which is also where you catch the Eurostar or get off the Eurostar if you're coming from the UK or Amsterdam. Across the road, they had a Popeye's chicken. And I'm very interested in trying the French version of Popeye's chicken because I walked past it a couple of times and it looked great. And if I hadn't been busting once more to find the toilet, I would have stopped.
I feel
Plus,
like
it would have probably been my third dinner for that day.
Firstly, I feel like the French version would have a bit more maybe buttermilk in it. And secondly, I feel like all of your stories are attached to needing to piss.
It has become the central focus of my travels.
It's the tagline for your fucking tourism book.
Tourism book. Like the funny thing is, like if you go, like Grant noticed this every time you went under any kind of tunnel.
Yeah.
Or walkway in Cannes, it stunk of piss. And that's because it is fucking hard finding a toilet.
Yeah, because you have no fucking change.
Because you got to pay for it. It's it's like at this point I've got to find there is one, I think in Emily in Paris there's like the oldest urinal in Paris is just one that's out on the street. Like you just walk up to it and use it. There's no building around it. It's just a urinal. Yeah, I want to find that one and hang around there the whole time.
Now I know what the script for European Vacation 2 is going to be. The need to piss.
Piss right. Yeah.
All right, hit me up with your last one.
All right. So which would you rather see? And these filmmakers are in their prime when they make this film. Would you rather see Walter Hill's Spider-Man or Ridley Scott's Spider-Man?
Oh, my goodness. What happened to Albert Pune's Spider-Man?
Yeah, I wanted good ones. No, I didn't want it to star Michael Dudikoff as much as I think that would have changed his career.
This is easy. I reckon Walter Hill, hands down. I enjoy him more as an action director than Ridley Scott. If you had have given me Tony Scott, that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah, that's it. Like I was going to say, at first, my first idea was Tony Scott or Ridley Scott.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought, well, that's a no-brainer.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, I guess it's like Alien and Aliens. Do you like Alien or do you like Alien?
Yeah. I just think Ridley Scott is kind of overrated in general, personally. Like, he's a good director and he's done some great films, but I think overall he's pretty overrated. Walter Hill seems a lot more consistent to me.
Yeah. Look, I think he's, in general, he's a lot more fun. Like he's much more of a popcorn director than
that's it.
Than Ridley Scott is. And
he has a lane and he sticks in it, and it's below the mainstream. It's sort of, it's not aiming too high.
Yeah, I just think he gives you when you see that it's a Walter Hill movie, he gives you exactly what you want to see.
Damn straight.
Whereas Ridley Scott kind of, he aims for the stars, and sometimes he hits them, and sometimes it falls short in a dramatic fashion. And
yeah,
you're like, oh.
And I feel like a Walter Hill Spider-Man would have lots of rumbles.
Yeah, totally. The action scenes would be amazing. Uncle Ben's death would be fantastic.
Yeah, and let's put like a bit of a fro on him with a bandana.
Be great. Like that. No, yeah, all the Kingpin's men would wear overalls and have roller skates on. It'd be great,
mate. And Spider-Man has to ride a motorbike.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
spider bike.
But the spider bike. He's coming after you, Batman.
I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah. I got a dopamine drop, it's my motivation, my preoccupation with gratification. Every day paying social media dues just for the sake of likes, comments, and views. I'm being exploited, it's hard to say. I hear that I'm loved almost every day. Truth. Everybody be hyping, so I'm tapping, typing, scrolling, and swiping. So tuned in, completely engrossed with how many hearts I got on that post. In the search results, I'm up on top. I got a dopamine drop. I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah. Dopamine is a neuromodulator, a mood escalator that makes you feel greater. A feel-good hormone made chemically that gives you bliss, euphoria, ecstasy. Anticipating outcomes in social situations, dopamine's released when you meet your expectations. And when these good interactions increase, it reinforces the behavior to make you repeat. And if you get these rewards in a group, bam, a dopamine feedback loop. Consequently, I don't want it to stop. I got a dopamine drop. I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah. On my YouTube, their eyes are glued. The multitude viewed and subscribers accrued. I'm not a quitter. But over on my Twitter, I felt defeated, so I tweeted then deleted. Scrap that, where's my other app at? Oh, Snapchat, I gotta tap that. I got charisma, damn, nobody dissed me, man. Got props for my fam on my Instagram. My selfie on Facebook really summed it up. I got 63 loves and 100 thumbs up. Man, I look great, no Photoshop. I got a dopamine drop. I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah. Dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah, I got a dopamine drop. I got another little dopamine drop. Yeah.
Well, that was a song that we can all relate to. Dopamine Drop by Weird Paul. Now, this guy is great. I have been a bit obsessed. Ben can contest to that. Like, it's genuine though. Like, I love what this guy's about, and the positivity he's putting out into the world. But his name is actually Paul Petroskey. He originally started, Ben, his career as Off the Wall Paul, and that name just didn't stick, and everyone just kept calling him Weird Paul instead, so he ran with it.
Well, I mean, look, the thing from the doco, he's such a normal little kid.
Yeah.
But he just didn't change his haircut. Like he's got like the youngest, was it Andy, the youngest brother from Family Ties? He's got his haircut.
the classic bowl, mate. The classic bowl.
The bowl.
It's a hairdo he's very, very protective of. Like, he has people comment on it all the time, and I guess he's just fucking sick of it. And it's his trademark.
If he was really sick of it, he'd get a haircut.
No, sick of the comments. I don't know. Look, he loves it. I love it.
He should just insure it. You should
totally
just insure it like actresses insure their legs or their butts or
damn straight
their boobs or whatever they insure. You should insure that haircut, then shave it off, and if it doesn't grow back, he cashes out.
Well, he knows it's iconic in the Weird Paul world. It's iconic, and this guy was the original content creator. He'd been making sort of short videos since the 80s, long before the likes of TikTok and Vine and all that kind of stuff. Like,
so you mean he's a legitimate content creator, not someone who just shows his feet every now and then.
Yes, he's got
breaks in OnlyFans cash.
He's got thousands and thousands of hours of content from when he was a kid, and he uploads sort of snippets and dribs and drabs to TikTok, and that's where a lot of people know him from. He's sort of found a whole new audience on there. But he also makes music, and he's actually released over 35 albums over the years. And I mean, the reason I got into his music was before I even sort of rediscovered him on TikTok. Because I'm a massive Ween fan, I went looking for all the weird kind of music I could years ago and came across some of his albums. And I think it was Pot of Macaroni was the song that got me hooked.
They got you. I just figured that you were on Instagram one day and you'd posted a story.
Yeah.
And you were looking for a music to accompany it, and you're like, I just need a song about PayPal. Is there one? And came up. You're like, there is.
Yeah, here it is. It's also possibly the shortest song in the world. Let's have a quick listen.
Thank you for choosing Taco Bell. Thank you for using PayPal.
It's awesome. Like, I've described him, and I say this to him, he's like an observational musical artist. He writes song titles based on things he sees and observes, and just...
I was going to say, he's the bizarre offspring of Jerry Seinfeld and Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, he's got one called "I Dropped My Almond Joy Bar," which is that's a tragedy. That one. I quite like. He's got one called "The Dreaded Glaucoma Test," and "The Sink Stinks." I like that one too. That's pretty.
That one, yeah.
Good title. Anyway, there have been 2 documentaries made about this guy. The most recent one was called "Will Work for Views: The Lo-Fi Life of Weird Paul." I highly recommend tracking it down. I think you can see it on Vimeo, of all places. There are probably other places to get it, but check it out there. That's where I watched it. I reached out to him recently, and man, he was great to chat with. You're going to hear it right now. Let's do it.
Max said,
Huggies diapers have this form-fitting
Message will self-destruct in
The only way to serve our country.
It was an accident. You almost killed me.
Well, you know what? We've been doing this show for several years now, and there's been several other podcasts before it, but I kind of feel like all the roads have been leading to this moment. Weird Paul, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Now, your online persona is Weird Paul, so I'm just going to call you that. If you don't mind.
That's what most people call me.
Good. Well, welcome to Good Movie Monday. It's a pleasure to have you. I totally dig what it is that you do, and we're kind of all about that here on the show. But there's going to be a lot of people listening that have never heard of you before, so let's do a bit of an introduction. How would you describe yourself to those people?
Where do I start?
It's all in the name, hey?
I guess so. Well, I guess one of the more interesting things about me is I've been creating content for about 45 years now. I'm 52. I started doing it at a very young age, first on audio cassettes, then on video cassettes. And so I've been making, my own videos for my own movies for a very long time. I've also been writing my own music and songs. since I was in high school. So I've amassed quite a body of work already. Even at age 52, I've probably produced at this point more stuff than most people produce in their entire lifetime, I would say.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So take us right back to the start. Like, why did you decide to start recording all of this stuff? Like, for people that don't know, when you talk about you've been doing this since you were a kid, a lot of people have come to know you from your like your TikToks, your Vine videos, your Instagrams of videos you made as a teenager or even younger still, lip syncing songs, just making sort of short films and things like that. Like, where did this all stem from? What gave you the impetus to pick up a camera and document stuff when there's no preconceived notion of the internet?
I was just from a young age driven with a desire to create. It was just it was just destiny for me. That's just that's the talent that I was given, that I should just be creating stuff nonstop. And my dad was into tech, early adopter of new tech. So he got an 8-track recorder first. That was probably 1976, I would say, 1976. So I was already had heard my voice played back on that. I was really into that idea that you could capture a moment in time and then experience that moment in time again. It's like the closest thing to a time machine, that exists, is having some sort of recording of a moment. And so then my dad bought a regular audio cassette recorder, and that's something that I just started using daily. I just kept making tapes. I still have, tons of those, and that's content that I haven't really even shared with the world yet at this point.
Incredible.
Then in 1984, that's when we got a video camera, and that was just, a lot of people say, how did you get the idea to make videos? It really wasn't that much of a jump from already doing it on audio tape to doing it on video. And I'd seen there were a couple shows on TV, and this was long before like the America's Funniest Home Video type of thing, where people were showing their home videos that they made with their camcorders. And this was in like 84, it was that early. And I was inspired by that to make content that I thought other people would enjoy. That was really my goal at the time. I want to make videos that could be on television, just like what I'm seeing here. And I had no actual plan of getting them on television, but I wanted people to be able to see the stuff I made. And it took half of my life before that could be a reality, but it has happened.
Yeah, totally. Like, do you remember what the first video was that you ever made?
The first video I made, well, after the initial just turning it on and saying, oh, wow, we have a camera and filming it, the first thing I filmed was someone's bowel movement in the toilet. And then my dad was really upset when he saw that I had filmed that, and he just took the camera away. And I wasn't even supposed to be using the camera. That's the thing that a lot of people don't even see here, is that my dad said, you're not allowed to touch this thing. It's not a toy. But I didn't listen to him at all, because I knew that wasn't my destiny, to not be touching this camera. So he took the camera away. He said, erase the tape. I don't want to see it. And unfortunately, that footage doesn't exist anymore. That's lost. But
is that a bad thing?
He took the camera away. Yeah, I hate for anything to be lost. I hate for any media to be lost. But anyway, he took the camera away. He said, you're not going to be able to use it again for a month. And of course, with my charm and my wiles, I was able to get the camera back that afternoon.
Oh, amazing. Well, and we all benefit from that. But obviously, you can cram like so many hours of video into a VHS tape, particularly if you have like, long form and whatnot. But how did you archive them back then? Like, did you have a library or some kind of system?
Well, yeah, each tape was numbered 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
And we gave each tape a title. This is what I'm saying. I mean, this wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to sit down here and babble into this thing, and then we just put it aside. No, this was all very explicitly. This was done with a real archiving sense. Every tape had a name. Every tape had a handwritten list of every single thing that was on it in order. So, and we would constantly rewatch the stuff. I'd say, remember the thing where we did this? And then I'd go find it and would watch it. So, or I would do like I'd say, we're going to do a little movie night tonight. It's going to be all videos where, had this thing in common or whatever. So that was absolutely not, it wasn't like this is junk. We took care of them. And when I moved out, they were just kind of considered family property. They belonged to the entire family. When the internet came along, I said, okay, I'm taking these now. This is my future. It's my past and also my future at the same time. So
Amazing. Well, my co-host can't be here at the moment because he's off traveling around the world. But we both come from video store backgrounds. I used to own a store, and this is back in the VHS days. So I'll tell you what, we appreciate the whole documentation of archiving the tapes and whatnot. I love to listen about that. And the other thing is, you don't just collect footage and content like that. You collect all kinds of weird stuff. As people can probably see watching the video behind you, you just collect memorabilia and all kinds of nostalgic stuff. You're like a window into the past, mate. I saw the other day.
I feel like...
Yeah, no, go on. I was going to say, I saw the other day.
Saying, I feel like in another life I would have been an archivist, but that's...
Yeah.
Instead, I don't have time to do everything.
One of the things I saw the other day was that you had, like, packets of straws from the 80s.
Right.
What possesses you to keep stuff like that? Like, back then, like, I mean, I understand the videos, but, like, packets of straws, where does that come from?
I mean, there's a really... Part of it is just a very deep nostalgia.
Yeah.
For that kind of thing. When I see something that I remember having in the house as a kid, and I haven't seen it in 35, 40 years, part of me wants to bring that back into my life. I want that to be... It's important. It's somehow just important to me. I don't know. Then there's another part of me that says this is just important to future people that need to be aware of this. Nobody has this kind of thing. You know, it's not, you try to Google it, you're not going to find it. You know, I feel like it's not even, there's so little. People think the internet, everything's on it. Wikipedia is just full of all human knowledge. Absolutely incorrect. Yeah. And so somebody needs to pick up the slack. There's a lot of people doing it, but I'm just one of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, plastic straws are practically a thing of the past. So, you know, visionary. You're visionary.
The packaging, though. It's the packaging that's important.
Yeah. One of the things I love most about you is actually the music that you make. And
thank you.
How many albums do you have now?
I think I've released 32.
Oh, incredible. Have you always rocked it solo? Have you ever performed in bands and things like that?
Oh, well, there were different times in my life when I said, I want to start a band with this particular intent, you know. For a while I didn't want my name like associated with a project. I just wanted it to be, there's this band and I happen to be in it, you know, even though I was writing all the songs and everything. Yeah. But, you know, different times in my life. So I do currently have a band too. We're called the Weird Paul Rock Band. See, now I put my name right in there, right dead center. But yeah, I've had a bunch of side projects, all kinds of things. I've just, you know, even when I was a teenager, I made an album with both of my sisters separately. I made an album with my little brother. You know, I was trying to create as much as I could with anybody that'd be willing to do it with me.
It's amazing. I've been listening to your music a lot lately, just, you know, knowing that I was going to be talking to you, and you're really hard to pigeonhole, and that's the best thing about it. And if I had to compare for the sake of people listening that haven't heard your music before, I'd say you're like this fantastic blend or middle ground between Sparks and Ween. I don't know if you know those bands, but you're right there.
Two of my favorite bands. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you're right in the middle, mate. Like, because I adore them, and I've been listening to your work, and they say that there's observational comedy, but I think you're observational music, if that makes sense. Would you describe yourself as that?
Sense.
Because
I never heard that before. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Your song titles, like, they're hilarious. The lyrics are quite often brilliant descriptors of everyday life, and I'm just going to run through a few titles now for people listening. You got Pot of Macaroni, one of your most famous ones. Hello Kitty Necklace, Hot Water Heater, Hippie of the Woods with an iPhone. I love that. My favorites, Pop-Tarted. I love that. This Guy's Got a Bone Disease and Piss on a Sick Kid. Take us through the process. I assume the titles come first?
Yeah, usually the way that songs mostly come to me is something, I'll overhear somebody saying something. Sometimes it'll be just out in a public place, or I'll be just doing some mundane thing, doing the dishes, using the toilet, whatever, and I'll just start singing about what I'm doing, and to a little made-up melody. These melodies just come into my head constantly. It just comes right out of my mouth. Instead of talking, I'm singing it, and I'll grab my tape recorder and just sing it right into there. So that's a chorus, and I have thousands of those just on tapes that I haven't even used, you know. So I just go through those, and I'm like, this is the one I want to finish today, and then I'll write the rest of the song. That's how I come up with this stuff.
I love it. Do you have a favorite of your own?
Oh, I don't know. I think Peanut Butter Recall, I think, is one of my best songs. Maybe I got drunk at Chuck E. Cheese is another one that I think is a very, very good, well-written song.
Oh my goodness! Like we are playing two of your songs on today's show, and one of them's "I Can't Stop Eating This Candy" and "Dopamine Hit," but it's technically three songs if you include "Pay for Your Tacos Quickly and Securely." Like that I have that in my head all the time, and my wife is probably sick of it by now. It's great.
Sure. The shorter, the better, because then people listen to it more times.
Mate, I fucking love your brain. It's hilarious. And so creative. And then came the documentary, this film all about you. How did that come about?
Well, that was the second documentary about me. The first one came out in 2006, and then I was approached by these people from Hollywood. They work on a show on Nat Geo called Life Below Zero. I don't know if you've heard of that show.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, well they were working on that show. Their background was in reality TV, and they said they were trying to start their own documentary company, and they were looking for their first subject for a movie. And so they asked me, if I was interested. And so much had happened in my life since the one before that it's just like it seemed like there was a lot more to tell by then. The first movie was just kind of about my music. After that documentary was made, the internet came into kind of fruition and social media. So now there's this whole other aspect to my life. And so I told them, well, if you don't make it, someone's going to. And they said, no, we'll make it. We'll make it. So that's how that all started. And I still really feel like there's going to be another documentary someday about me, because I
hope so.
Feel like the entire story has not been told yet.
I really hope so. Did this one do much for your profile?
I don't really, it got seen a little bit. I don't really feel like it didn't really get out there in the public eye as much as it could have. It didn't really play at a lot of festivals or get on any really big streaming platforms or anything like that. But I did get some people coming in saying, I think it's more now where people find me on TikTok, say, and they don't know anything about me. And then they find out about the movie and then they watch it. And then that gives them a little bit more, of a resource to like understand who I am and what they're watching, instead of just seeing some random person on the internet. So
yeah, I mean, that's precisely right, because I knew of you for several years. I've known your face. I've known a lot of your videos from the Vine days, but it was this documentary that opened my eyes and let me into your world, and not only saw your process, but just how seriously you take it. And that's just mad respect, man. Mad respect.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been taking it pretty serious my whole life. I mean, even when I was a teenager, it was just that my actors were only my family, and I would say I would give them the direction. I mean, I took directing very seriously. It's just I couldn't get them to understand my vision.
Well, I do hope there's a second film in the works, or third, I should say, because the world needs more Weird Paul. We have to wrap it up here, mate. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us on the show, and I hope a lot of people listening to this go and do a deep dive into the whole Weird Paul world.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. Now, we were doing a special on our own Bonehead Weekly about movies in 1983, and Chad and I had talked about how 1983, and someone wrote an article, has a ton of just horrible, shitty sequels that came out that year. But we're going to pick a shitty movie that we all enjoy. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Go, Chad.
So, honestly, one of the shitty sequels that came out in 1983 is, of course, Superman 3. It is not a good movie, but damn it, I love it. It was actually, if I remember correctly, it was my introduction into Superman movies. I didn't see Superman or Superman 2. That was the Superman movie I watched, and it was one of probably, if not my first superhero film that I watched as a kid, and I loved it. And it still holds a place for me today. Now, I know watching it's absolutely absurd, but I'll be honest with you. There are parts of Superman 2 that absolutely infuriate me to no end, and Superman 3, I just enjoy it for what it is.
I was about to say, it's got that great Borg scene.
Yeah, and the lady turning into the Borg is amazing. It's still one of those. It's still cool today, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick a part 3 too of a franchise that did have diminishing returns, but there's still scenes I love in it, even though I haven't watched it in a few years. I'm going to talk about Smokey and the Bandit 3. Now, this has one of those checkered past of there's people who say there's a whole version that was shot where the Smokey is the bandit, and that was the original title, and Jackie Gleason played the bandit. I think a lot of this is just confused, and I actually read an interview with the writer, and one of the writers, they went down to Jackie Gleason's,
Like there was a director's cut of the Justice League.
Oh, it didn't help it.
That was better.
So he they wrote it. Jackie actually has one of the writing credits on this movie. I didn't know, and for some odd reason, I kind of knew Hal Needham didn't direct it, but also didn't know that Hal Needham didn't direct it, guys. Dick Lowry directed. Dick Lowry, as you know, he's famous for directing in the Line of Duty pictures and a lot of TV films with Tom Selleck throughout his career. But Smokey and the Bandit 3, it basically has Jackie Gleason in sense playing kind of the bandit, and he's doing a run from Miami to the Big and Little Enos farm in Texas with a shark or a dolphin or some sort of fish tied to his car. And it has a great opening scene of making fun of Patton. It has a great song of "Where are you, bandit, when we need you the most, and where you are you Sheriff Justice, when we need you the most." And I just enjoy it. It's a really bad movie. It's a really bad movie, but it's Smokey and the Bandit, and it's still Jackie Gleason, guys, and Jerry Reed.
You know, y'all are cute with your third movies. Let me do one that's way more than third, but not even considered part of the actual franchise. You could not talk about the epic crap fest that was 1983 follow-ups without mentioning the movie that splintered a franchise. I'm talking about Never Say Never Again.
I knew that's what he was going to do, by the way.
About
2 minutes ago, I was like, he's going to do the Connery one.
Thunderball
that they remade
was
Thunderball.
so good that they had to remake it with Connery again. And you know what? I watch it and I still enjoy it. Thunderball's my favorite Bond movie.
Same here.
It is. There's something about Never Say Never Again and bringing Connery back to the role and all of that stuff. But if you know anything about what it did for the rights, it splintered the rights. But more importantly, it gave us Connery one more time as Bond. And it's worth the ride. The fact that it came out the same year as another Bond movie is fascinating in its own right. So that being said, I can't not like Never Say Never Again.
This has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size, 1983.
Yes, if you do like the twang of those voices, then do yourself a favor, check out the Bonehead Weekly podcast. Joe, Chad, and James are heaps of fun to listen to, and we love having them on this show. So it's good to have them on the Good Movie Monday lineup. And look, they recently did an episode called Worst Mums in Movies, so go and have a listen to that. That's good fun. They pick some good topics, Ben. They pick some good topics.
They do. They certainly do.
They're known to poach some of ours as well, which is, I mean,
good for them. Like, don't feel so bad about stealing theirs now.
That's right. It's the sincerest form of flattery. But let us recommend some movies now. Get your proverbial pens and papers ready and write these down, and you're going to want to watch them. Well, I think you should anyway. I'm going to take the lead on this one, Ben. Movie from 1978. You've probably seen it. It's called Corvette Summer. Do you know this one? This was the first movie that Mark Hamill made after doing the first Star Wars.
Yeah, with Annie Potts.
Yes, and he'd also just had his car accident right before filming this one, like literally weeks before filming. So it's an interesting time for him. But tell you what, great movie. Really, really hard one to define or sort of even to pin into a genre. But I guess you could kind of call it a road trip, teen comedy, sort of coming of age love story. Like if you throw all those into a pot.
That's like a movie that is multi-hyphenate.
That's right. It's about a kid who restores a Corvette in his senior year of high school as sort of his high school project, and I mean he really does up this Corvette, and to the point that there's no actual fucking way a high school student could possibly do what he does to this car. Like it's, he makes it into the fucking hottest car in the whole world. But the gist of the movie is the car gets stolen, and then he gets a tip that it's in Las Vegas and embarks on a road trip to go and try and find the car and get it back. And along the way, he hooks up with Annie Potts, who plays a sort of wannabe prostitute. and she drives around in a fuck wagon. And
I love that she's a wannabe. Like, but you remember back in the 70s when if you wanted to become a whore, you really had to work at it. Not like today where you just sit on a webcam. Like you had to.
Well, I mean, the second that she takes him on as he was hitchhiking and she picks him up and she just wants to fuck him for practice and he doesn't want to. And it's like, what the fuck is he thinking? Because I'll tell you what, Annie Potts, this era particularly, wow, like, damn, like stunning. And I kind of just wanted to watch a movie about her. Fuck Mark Hamill. Like I just wanted to watch Annie Potts. I mean, I kind of had the hots.
Sorry,
I've kind of had the hots for her all along. But
you put the comma in the wrong place of that sentence, and you basically are talking about Corvette Summer.
But yeah, look, I mean, I hadn't seen this movie since I probably saw it on late night television, I reckon, and back in the 80s. Far out, it holds up pretty well. Like I really, really enjoyed this, and there's a lot of things that happen in the sort of final act that I can't really talk about. Otherwise, it does spoil a lot of things. But tell you what, it's not laugh out loud, but it's very nuanced and completely engaging. And Mark Hamill had all the promise of being more than just Luke Skywalker, but this movie didn't quite do it for him, unfortunately.
No, messed up his pretty face. No.
It's good. I really enjoyed it. What about you?
I'm going to because I've been on the road. It's been it's a bit difficult to be checking out much in the way of movies that I can actually talk about on the show. I saw a bunch in Cannes, but they're not podcast appropriate yet.
Yeah, not accessible.
But some of them were fucking great. Some of them were weird, dark, super dark, weird, and great. But so instead, I'm going to go back to my childhood. All those many eons ago, and talk about this movie. Like I came across it in the kids section of Movieland in Oakley, and it's a Disney film, and was in one of those big white VHS covers.
Yeah.
And I was like, to a degree, it changed my life, or at least I tried to emulate it at school. The following day, it's called Emile and the Detectives. It's based on it's a children's book, but I can't for the life of me. I think it's German. I think it's a German children's series, and Walt Disney, in his infinite wisdom, would scour the world for these big things and then steal them.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't steal them, but he would basically buy them and then release them to an American audience. And this movie is about this kid, Emile, whose mother sends him to what's the name of the it's not Berlin. She sends him to the big city, and for the life of me now, I can't remember the name of the city. To visit his grandmother, and she works all the time and can't go, and she pins like 10 pounds into his jacket pocket.
Yep.
To give to his grandmother, so she can pay her rent and stuff, because that's how she kind of helps. And so, but he gets overheard by this pickpocket who's also traveling on the train, who sits in the same carriage with him and basically slips him a Mickey Finn. So he falls asleep and he pinches the 10 pounds. And this is back when 10 pounds was like a week's rent kind of thing. So it's a whole lot of money. And so when he gets to the station is it Berlin or Frankfurt, something like that? He gets to the city. He doesn't want to talk to he doesn't want to tell his grandmother that he's lost the money, but he enlists the aid of these local kids who he kind of first runs afoul of, but with the aid of literally a city full of kids, they track down the thief, and of course, when they track him down, they stumble onto a much bigger crime, and the pickpocket's boss is Walter Slezak, who was in a bunch of great movies, a lot of Disney movies. He was in that Rock Hudson, Jenna Lollobrigida one, something in September.
Yep. Not
with
sure.
Bobby Darin and Sandra Dee. I can't remember what that was called. But he was also he's in the Brothers Grimm movie as well. If you saw that, the with Lawrence Harvey, the original Lawrence Harvey, not the Human Centipede Lawrence Harvey. But anyway, you look up Walter Slezak, and he's incredibly for me. He's very similar looking. He's like the European version of the guy who played the Wizard of Oz in the Wizard of Oz.
Yes. No, I do know who you mean.
But and so together with the kids, they basically foil this huge crime and get a reward. But they also get their £10 back and stuff. It's just this. It's like this. It's this great kind of kids noir film.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can see it on Disney Plus.
Cool. I want to check it out. It had the same effect on you, it sounds, that Belle and Sebastian had on me. that animated film about the white dog in the Pyrenees.
Yeah. I remember the series, you mean?
Yeah.
Or was there an actual movie?
It was a French animated series, even though it took place in Austria. Yeah. It was like a French animated series, and it's very hard to come by. Like, I've got a bootlegged copy that was just taken off a TV broadcast, but there's a DVD box set out there that's only available in French and has no English at all, even subtitle.
Oh, right. I used to watch it on the ABC.
Yeah,
show. And there was also, do you remember Bumpty Boo? Played the same. They call him Bumpty. Bumpty Boo.
Well, there's actually been 4 movie adaptations in the last 10 years of Belle and Sebastian. Which
I think a lot of them are on SBS On Demand.
Yes,
or at least they were up to relatively recently.
Which I did enjoy the first one, but they kind of just got really, really long and drawn out after that. But anyway, we're not talking about Belle and Sebastian
because what's his name plays the grumpy grandfather, right? The bad guy from Bad Boys.
Oh yeah, I don't know what his name is. He's in lots of movies.
Cheeky Caro.
Cheeky Caro.
That's his name.
I want to say Cheeky Caro.
It's TCH. I've always said Cheeky Caro, but he's also in The Patriot with Mel Gibson. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's in The Call, but he's the grumpy grandfather who kind of helps Belle and Sebastian.
Well, there you go. There's a bonus recommendation for everybody, but we have reached the end of the show, mate. It is very, very early over there, and you've still got your whole day ahead of you.
I certainly do.
And hey, being Good Movie Monday, it's early here. Go figure.
I'm just gonna.
But
it's actually I'm actually recording at the right time that the show drops.
Yep, totally. But please come back.
Oh, definitely. Next week I'll be in the lovely UK.
Well, you'd have to come back. You can't afford to shit.
That's right. I'm hoping the toilets are free in the UK. At least in the Maccas. Like if you buy it's such a kick. It's literally a kick in the pants when you're like, I've just paid for this, because you make the mistake not knowing. You think, okay, I'll buy something to drink at this place, which is the worst thing you can do if you're busting for a piss is to pour more water into your bladder. Like, I'm going to fill it up a bit more until it's literally coming out of my ears. In the vain attempt to use their facilities, and when you get there is a person standing there like coughing with their hand out, and you're like, oh, come on.
Jesus. Does he shake it for you?
It's usually a woman.
Even better.
And I don't know if that costs more euros.
Well, test it out.
Hey, let me tell you though, they all look thoroughly unimpressed. I haven't seen one happy one.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Time to wrap it up. Thanks, mate, for phoning this in. I know that it's a big ask for you to be doing the show while you're over there traveling, but do appreciate it.
No, I just the chance to speak English without looking like an idiot.
It's true.
It's a major plus.
That's true. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget, go to goodmoviemonday.com and find our social media pages and like, share, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna let Weird Paul take us out with a movie that Ben and I can identify with and have proven to be true on the podcast at the desk. It's a song called "Can't Stop Eating This Candy," and relatable, absolutely relatable.
Dark, I know my way around up the stairs, and then chocolate.